Gas prices are down in every single state in this country. I'm going to show you the numbers in a second. But today, the very powerful group of oil-producing countries made a decision that could send those gas prices back up. Now, before I tell you about that decision, let's look at gas prices in this country as of today. According to AAA, the average cost in the United States for a gallon of regular gas is $3.25. That is the same as it was yesterday, but it is down from a week ago, down from a month ago, and down 25 cents a gallon from a year ago. Almost half of the country is looking at the average cost for a gallon of gas being right around or below $3 a gallon. All of the states that are in light blue are at $3.10 a gallon or under, and all of the states that are in dark blue are well below an average of $3 a gallon. Now, all the states that are in pink or in dark red are above $3.24 a gallon on average. And of course, the state with the most expensive gas continues to be California, which is seeing an average cost for a gallon of regular at $4.85. But here's the thing. The amount of money you pay for gasoline at the pump really depends on two things: supply and demand for oil. Right now, the demand has been relatively low, as opposed to, for example, the summer where families were driving around this country on their summer road trips. But it's the supply part of that equation that will be impacted by the decision I talked about at the beginning of this video. A decision made today at the meeting of OPEC+. And in case you don't know, OPEC Plus is the group of oil-producing countries led by Saudi Arabia and includes countries like Russia, the UAE, and Iraq. The United States, by the way, not a member of OPEC Plus. Now, as I have told you in several videos in the past, oil is a global commodity. Disruptions or volatility in one part of the world can impact oil prices all over the world. And the goal of OPEC Plus is to squeeze as much money out of the world for their oil as they can, so they make more money for themselves. Well, here's the thing. These OPEC Plus countries haven't been getting as much money for their oil recently. Demand has been down and supply has been relatively steady. In fact, as I told you in this video, in the month of October, the United States pumped more oil in this country than at any other point in our history. We pumped 13.2 million barrels of oil a day in October. So to offset that supply for the last year or so, OPEC Plus has been significantly cutting the number of barrels of oil they put on the global market. And that tactic worked in the spring and the summer of this year. You can see this is a chart of oil prices in the United States dating back to December of 2018. And you can see right there in March of this year was a peak when oil prices reached about $124 a barrel. And those high prices continued, you can see, through the summer months, but then they started to come down. They peaked again right around here, but then they started coming down again. And that leads us to today, where oil prices in this country are far below $80 a barrel. So OPEC Plus had a decision to make today. They could let the oil production cuts expire at the end of 2023 and go back to regular oil production loads and sort of see what happens in the market and keep their oil dominance. Or they could extend those cuts into 2024. And I'll let you guess which one they decided. Yeah, they decided to keep up with the production cuts. Now, what is different this time is they decided that each OPEC Plus member nation could individually decide how much oil it produces and sends to the global market instead of coming up with a mandatory production cut for every OPEC Plus member nation. Saudi Arabia, which is OPEC Plus's de facto leader, and Russia immediately announced they would be extending their voluntary oil production cuts into the first 3 months of 2024. In all, OPEC Plus member nations agreed to voluntarily cut about 2 million barrels of oil per day in the first quarter of 2024. Now, they are voluntary cuts, not mandatory, so things could change. And depending on if the United States can keep up this incredible oil production that we saw in October, this decision today by OPEC Plus could strain the supply of oil on the global market and very well could drive up the price of gasoline.